Tampa Bay. It's that time again. Noon. Porch Talk Radio. Your host, Eddie Adams Jr. here again. Willie Lawson, Gabrielle, Phillips. The regulars are here. And we're going to make sure that we have the conversation that we need to have on a day like today. It's been one of those kind of weeks, you know. I mean, I've been off to Orlando to a conference called Preventing Crime in the Black Community, which you have sheriffs and legal law enforcement officers and personnel, detention personnel from all over the state of Florida that kind of show up. And one sheriff down in West Palm Beach sent 130-something kids to the event. So it's leaders within the community and children, and we even had a delegation from Jamaica. So kind of been hanging out all week with some good-hearted, good-blooded folks with one objective, primarily how we solve one of the major problems in our community. So hopefully before the end of the show, I get a chance to talk about Mr. Harris Rosen, for those who don't know who this guy is.
Awesome.
25 years ago, he adopted a black community and changed the lives of a lot of black folks. And it was the worst crime-riddled, drug-riddled, dropout, teen pregnancy area in all of Orange County. And 25 years later, it's a model community. And he searched all over the world to find some other billionaire type to do the same thing, and haven't been able to find one other since. So what he did, he adopted another community. And this new community, all black, 1 mile by 1 mile near downtown Orlando. So anyway, we've got some other stuff we want to talk about. I'm going to give you the call-in numbers, because last week we had a bunch of folks called in because that was one of those hot community topics. Call-in number 813-251-9867. 813-251-9867. Our sponsors, the folks that allow us to bring you this show every week. Todd Jones, property appraiser. That means that's what he do, not that what he's running for. Hillsborough County Republican Executive Committee. They was our original sponsors when we were doing this last year during the political season. They were our sole sponsors. Allowed us to start bringing this programming to you, this service to this community, and I thank them for what they did because they stepped out and took a chance. Also, Print Fast, John Desbrow, the owner over there, take care of all your printing needs. Give John a call. His number 813-621-9444. And we have some great sponsors here because they allow us, give us the ability to do this. And we have some great conversations from time to time. And I know it's a thing that's going on out there when people are bringing you something different. I'm going to tell you something. We're the only, and this is the only show in the Tampa Bay area where we do what we do. Again, this is a conservative talk show. We talk about things in a different point of view or a different light than you are traditionally used to getting your news and your information. That don't mean you stop listening to everything else. That means we just give you another way to look at the same news. So if you don't like the way we say something, the light in which we put something, that's okay. I mean, because the issue becomes you get it, you process it, and you do what you want with it from there. You see what I'm saying? I mean, you get a vantage point or you get some information, and you may not like the way we say it, or you may not like the way it sounds. But that's the reason we do this show, because we give you something that you're not getting. I know you're not getting it anywhere else on WTMP. And you're not getting it anywhere else on any radio station that's terrestrial, that means land-based, in this area. So, with that being said, someone, now, when we're going through our sponsors, you notice none of our sponsors are black. Even though the information we give and some of the scenarios we put out there and some of the information about how to make stuff happen within this community we give is directed to the citizens of the black community. I mean, they stand to gain, be able to put forth the most and use this information the best. Someone called the Republican Executive Committee to complain about this show. Now, not just the show itself, but some of the information. The three of us who do this show every week, and probably pretty much been doing this show together for 5 years, all see even the conservative view differently. Willie and Gabrielle are not yes men. And if you listen to this show for any point in time, you can pretty much tell that, because they don't agree with a lot that I say from time to time. But again, they get to express their own view, and you hear it. So you hear me, and you hear them. I mean, if I wanted to, I could sit here and talk every week for an hour myself. But that's not what we're talking about. As Elliot laughs out loud.
Thank you very much.
As Elliot laughs out loud, he's our engineer because he's a bona fide, genuine, I'm gonna say yellow dog, Democrat.
Yellow dog.
So he's sitting here having to deal with this. Now he's listened to probably 5 or 6 hours of liberal left showing, and then we walk in here, and he's been feeling good all day. So whatever high he's gained, or whatever good feeling he's gained about the Democrats and the liberal, for an hour we tear it all down. So again, it's not intended to tear it down. It's just to give you the other view, give you the other side of the story. So now you're more well informed because now you got both sides to look at. And the stories and the topics we talk about are varied. We talk about national topics. We talk about local topics. Like the first topic we're going to talk about here. The first topic we're going to talk about today, there's a movement afoot. And it's going across most of the nation, some shape, form, or fashion, some version of it, where they are taking down and pulling off plaques and renaming schools and monuments and all this kind of other stuff. Well, one of our local school board members has headed up and in the process of trying to, and I say trying to, rename Robert E. Lee Elementary School. Now, we've got a lot of conversation going on within the community, and I've even read a couple of articles about it, but it's not officially happened, because I was told that it's going to be brought up at a school board meeting here within the next week or two. So they're asking folks in the community to show up at the school board meeting and voice your opinion, good, bad, or indifferent. Now, issues like this is not politically for it's Democrat, Republican. Issues like this tend to take on the mantra of being a community good feeling type of opportunity. Now in New Orleans, those folks got together and started tearing down stuff. You can see photos of cranes, of flying horses and generals and monument bases and everything, as they one by one start pulling them all down. Here we're a little bit more backwards in how we do those kind of things. So there is a force that's probably being mounted that we don't know about, that when we show up, it's not going to be just us. And I mean that like Richard Pryor. not just us. So for those who are interested, want more information, and again, the person that I have been told, so if this is incorrect, I know somebody will call and tell me, is Tamara Schemberg, a school board member, supposed to be heading up this venture and looking for folks from the community to show up to support this effort. Now, I've also heard that there's another effort that's being led or will be led by Commissioner Les Miller to remove a Confederate statue from in front of the courthouse. So again, but that's another thing. We won't talk about that till we get more information. You guys want to comment on this?
I want to circle back to our engineer. I've got to say,
Talking about Elliot.
Elliot is probably the most straightforward guy in the whole building. It's great because there's no pretense, and Elliot's always been very respectful. Elliot, I think, frankly, Elliot's got a really good handle and really good eye sitting where he sits. He really, you know what? Because
you say your check's in the mail.
Well, no, that ain't it. He wasn't expecting this because Elliot and I don't agree on every single thing. But I think because of his perspective, I think he's got a unique perspective, and I respect people who are able to sit in a place and see everything from where they sit. Because Elliot, I teach saxophone and flute and clarinet, and I sit in my chair and I watch a bunch of kids come in. So I have an interesting perspective, and you've got a similar perspective. And I appreciate your respect. I appreciate your respect and your professionalism. So thanks. As far as I know we have a call. As far as the naming of the school goes, I'm pretty ambivalent. I don't really care. And frankly, most people don't care. We've got 130 plus elementary schools in Hillsborough County. Most people don't even know we've got a school named Robert E. Lee. Most people don't have any idea. Most people don't know that we've got two schools named the same thing. We've got a Robinson Elementary School in Plant City and a Robinson High School. Most people don't have any idea. So it isn't like this is some thing that's crushing us and killing us and destroying our community. It's really more ironic that it's all symbolism that Robert E. Lee happens to be on the same street as Columbus Drive. If you're looking at somebody that people will hate for what they did to Native Americans, it's on Columbus Drive, so it's everything that's supposedly wrong.
right on one street.
Okay, so let's get our caller in. We've got a caller on the Print Fast Newsmaker line. Caller, welcome to Porch Talk Radio. Good afternoon. What can we do for you?
Good afternoon. My name is Alva, and I am on a crusade, myself and others, to save Potter. Well, one of the 40 selling schools in Hillsborough County. And
Turn your radio down, please.
Okay. I just left the area of Potter, canvassing the neighborhood, trying to get parents involvement, which, is going to be the key to saving schools. Well, one of them, I should say, one of the keys to saving schools. Parent involvement, saturating the just kind of getting there and volunteering and, find out what the school plan, because every school has a plan for the students, and that's one thing that parents should ask for. What is the plan that the school has implemented for that year as a student? And can I do a plug of where we're going to meet or something like that right now?
Yeah, please tell us. You guys got a meeting.
Go ahead.
We're going to have a meeting on June the 24th at Mama's Kitchen. That's 3701 East Dr. Martin Luther King. On the 24th, we're all going to meet there and share, how can we save Potter?
What time is that meeting?
10 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So what I thank you for allowing us to be part of your voice in this community and a resource for getting information out on things that we know in the future is going to make this community better. Part of what we do here and what we have done is we probably have most of the listeners through the course of the day that kind of just hang around because we're here. But then we have some unique listeners who are white and part of the community at large who listens to this show because they don't believe that an urban radio show could have a conservative, group that comes in here and talk conservative. So again, we got a larger listenership because I absolutely know, and we're not politically correct. So if you've heard us talk on this show for any period of time, we have a bunch of white folks that listen to this show. So part of our answer is communicating not just with people in the community, but people at large and people outside our community. So that's part of what we do, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to do that and to help you. All right. Thank you. All right. So we're gonna go on to our next topic, and this is not an official topic. I just gotta make this comment because I've heard so many people talking about LeBron James and his issues and being black in America, which everybody in the studio has dealt with except for Tim and Gabriel. Tim is white. He's a white member of our team, and Gabriel Hispanic. So this is probably as diverse a show as you're going to get in this area. But the speech he gave and about somebody doing something to his house, and also prevalent in the news this week, my version of Ned the Rhino. I know you guys back in the day used to see Ned. Ned was the drunk guy who always looked unkept and was always, no matter when you see him or no matter what show you saw him on, he looked the same way. Well, that's our new version of how America is currently treating Tiger Woods. I saw some photos of Tiger, and every time I saw him, the photos kept getting worse and worse and worse until I finally saw one, where it looked like one eye was half open, the other one was closed, and he was unkept. I mean, when you worth hundreds of millions of dollars, you usually have a ad agency, group of lawyers who are responsible for keeping your name and those bad photos out of the news. But somehow, I guess since he's fell under the weather here and
mugshots are public domain. You cannot hide your mugshot.
And again, I'm just thinking, it used to be a time he was, and I know black folks argue, he was never black, but again, half the black folks accepted him, half the black folks don't. But one thing about being black, it's not up to you, it's how people perceive you. So more people perceive him as being white, as Capital Asian or whatever the hell he used to call himself. So kind of like OJ and Michael and Michael Jackson, a few other people who try not to be black. It ain't something you decide; it's what other folks decide. Willie, go ahead.
It's really a shame. All of it, all of it for me is very sad because you saw. You've seen Tiger Woods in the public eye since he was 4 years old on the Mike Douglas show, and not many people who listen to this program may remember who the heck Mike Douglas is. Am I right? Yeah, people are going, who the hell is Mike Douglas? Anyway, because my grandma had me hooked on Mike Douglas way back in the late 60s. And his dad brought Tiger on to the Mike Douglas show, and he's been in the public eye, which is really a very difficult place to be. A lot of people, start thinking about, well, what about all that money and blah, 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 blah. If somebody is watching you and everything you do and say 24 hours a day in every aspect of your life, and in his life, it only got more intense because of social media and the like, that cannot be a very good place to be. And I praise the Lord that I'm not that person. Because I'm not nice every day, all day long, to everybody. And the last thing I need is some McDonald's greasy head to stick their phone out of that drive-thru when they ask me to park and see that expression on my face and plaster all over town. It's the last thing I need. So we see what the media can do for you.
Right, yeah.
And only waiting for the time that the house that they build, they can set, that falls down, they can set on fire. Because that's what they do. They build that house up, and people enjoy it, and then the media, if you screw up, they'll set that house on fire and dance around your burning corpse. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what's happening to Tiger. Not that he hasn't made mistakes. If he called me, I would have told him way before that when he got into this whole thing with his wife and all that cheating. I said, "Yo, man, you make a lot of money. Just go home." You know what? That cocktail waitress? No, just get a plane and go home.
But see, Tiger got the O.J. Simpson complex. For some reason, all those white women look the same. I'm just saying, because they showed his new girlfriend, she looked just like his wife. I'm just saying. So, I'm just saying.
I don't really care about any of that. You know what? That's a circle. I mean, that's a circle he's in.
Yeah.
I get that. And I don't really care because that's not his biggest problem. The biggest problem is that
it's black.
That's
the biggest problem.
That he can't do the thing now that gave him the buffer from all the craziness. Because frankly, if you got enough money, you can buffer yourself from anything.
Well,
you can buffer if you got enough money, you can buffer yourself from all the negative press. You can buffer yourself between all the people who don't like you. Because if you're sitting on a pile of money, you don't give a crap that people go, "How come he went to white women?" Because all you got to do is reach in your back pocket, open your wallet, and go, "Look at that." I don't give a damn what you say. You see all this money that continues to fall out of this wallet? You thought it was empty, but I'm going to shake it some more and more money fall out. You know? And as long as you can do that, you don't have to care.
And it don't work the same if you're the 827th golfer in the world. That's your number. See, I mean, somebody who used to be in the top 10, top 50.
And that's my point.
You know,
my point is that he can't go and do that now because of injuries and whatever. So now the buffer is a little closer to the bone. So now when he screws up, now everything's in the open. Now everything is fair game. Now and now people are wondering about whether the chick he's dating or whatever. And I don't care who you date. I don't give a crap who you date.
Right.
But now everything is fair game.
Yeah.
And now his pictures, his arrest pictures, and I'm telling you, don't nobody look good in a mugshot.
By design.
Don't nobody look good in a mugshot.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe me, take out your driver's license picture. Because for most people, that's as close to a mugshot as you'll get. Don't nobody look good that day, and especially at 3 in the morning. Don't nobody look good.
Yeah.
They don't say, "Hey, you want to make yourself, you want to go to the bathroom and get yourself together before we take a mugshot." Nobody says that.
Usually they take your mugshot right after they get through beating you up or dragging you in or something. So usually that's when it looks the worst because you got a couple extra knots and hickey, or your hair is undone,
Well, your
your
hair
clothes
will
are
be
ruffled up a little bit. Just saying. That's
It is never your best day.
Yeah.
So, and those pictures get distributed in the same press that lauded you and had their lips firmly planted on your behind all that time as they start to burn down the thing that they think they built.
Right. And most of the time they have but the thing about LeBron James is in this whole process,
Just play LeBron.
you don't get athletes. Even Michael Jordan said Republicans buy tennis shoes too, so he wouldn't comment on things that have happened in his political time. But for LeBron somehow to, and it was, say this happened to me because I'm black in America. Black in America at his altitude is a different black in America than most of. He's got to go somewhere in Bug Tussle, Tennessee, before he go around one of the black.
Bug Tussle is where the Clampets are from Beverly Hills.
He got to go somewhere in Bug Tussle, Tennessee, back in the woods, before they don't know who he is. You see what I'm saying? Back there, he's probably just another brother, another black guy. But I mean, most other places he get to be above that, and he really don't get what it's like to be black in America unless he puts himself in some situations like that. I'm just saying.
LeBron has always been, athletically. A man amongst boys. LeBron went to a really exclusive high school and played basketball there, and then left there and went directly to the NBA. So you know what? For all the debate about who's the greatest of all time, all that kind of stuff, LeBron, frankly, has exactly what I just talked about. He's got a money buffer where if he's smart, he doesn't have to give a tinker's damn what anybody says or does because he's got a money buffer that'll probably going to last another 7 or 8 years, however long his career lasts. And if he's smart and gets smart people around him, it may last forever. But he doesn't have to participate in life, in an American life, as a regular black person, as you or I do, people who are driving their cars around today, we doesn't have to participate like that. Michael Jordan figured that out.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to participate. He doesn't have to care. Yeah, so I gamble. And look at this wallet. I'm shaking this money out of this wallet. And look, and you got some Nike tennis shoes. You got some Air Jordans on, which makes more money to fall in this wallet. What else? And because that's really the deal. Now, if we're going to be grown-ups, that's really the deal. So LeBron basically is in a time, unfortunately, where there's a lot of pressure on especially younger black athletes to comment socially. Yes, he has some things happen to him at his house, apparently, and that's terrible and that's awful, and whoever did it needs to go to jail for sure. But sometimes people bring stuff on themselves a little bit. A lot of people were mad when he went to Miami, especially the 2-hour special about him doing it. People, when people are burning your jersey, your $150 jersey in the parking lot, holy crap!
Oh, now they can go buy some new ones.
Cleveland's upset. You know what? And of course LeBron has been in this thing pretty much all season. He needs some help. I need some help. You know what? You're the best damn player in the league. If there are 10 players on the court and you're one of them, LeBron James is the best player on the court. No matter who they're playing, all the time. And that's Steph Curry, too. Y'all can call it, argue, I don't care. Y'all know I'm right. So all he's got to do is continue making sure that wallet is full so he can actually do good. And he does do good in the community. He needs to continue that because that needs to be his legacy. This doesn't need to be LeBron's legacy. I feel like the dude from ESPN suddenly screaming and yelling all the time. Smith, you know what I'm saying? I feel like him screaming and yelling all the time, but he's right. That's all you gotta do is play ball, keep that wallet full, and keep doing the good works in the community, and let that be his legacy. Let not this be his legacy.
Right, and the secret of basketball, NBA national championships, and this has always been the secret: win your home games. So if you get that first home game, win your home game. You win your NBA title. That's been it.
So basically, we got people with a lot of money acting stupid, and the fact they got a lot of money, they can do what they want 24/7. The media's trying to correct them, but the media helped create them, just like Willie said. Because of the media, they are who they are. And some of these men and women have amazing talents. Just absolutely off the chain talent. They're wacky. They had that before they made their money, and now that they got their money, they're still acting the same. But because they got all this money, they can say and do as they please, and the rest of us got to either put up with it or just cut it off. Bill Mayer just came out, just this week, saying he's a house nigga. He's the whitest black person I ever seen in my life. But that's what he said. Again, somebody with a lot of money saying stupid stuff, doing stupid stuff. And the rest of us, common sense, paying our bills, going to work, day in, day out. You gotta say, well, for some, that is the life they live. The life of Ryan, right? All the privilege. And that's good. I'm glad they made it. But I think Willie hit it again. They need to keep helping out the community, contributing to programs that really do help the common person down here. And like Eddie says, they're in a different stratosphere. They're in a different world. And that's all right. That's all right. But again, just because they got more money and they keep shaking that wallet, that doesn't make you any better than you or me. They just got more money.
All right, now we're going to talk about next weekend. And as I said earlier, this kind of, I guess, us talking about it ended up getting us in trouble because somebody didn't like what we were saying. But Ben Carson is going to be the keynote speaker at the Hillsborough County Republican Executive Committee Lincoln Day event, which is going to be next Friday evening. So if you want tickets, contact or go to the website of the Hillsborough County Republican Executive Committee. Information will be there. Either they have a link or something that tells you how to and where to send your check. Also, next Saturday show, Nigel Ennis will be here in the studio with us live. And for those who don't know who Nigel Ennis is, Googling him. That's a good way to find out information. because again, the easy thing for us to do is sit here and tell you about it. And he's actually been on this show before. He just called in and we had a good conversation for about 30 minutes. So since he's going to be in town next week, he's going to be in the studio with us. So again, if you don't know who he is by then, just call in and he'll tell you who he is. National Black conservative. Not only is he a national Black conservative, his father was a very important national Black conservative. So again, that's next week on the show. Also, in a couple of weeks, 2 weeks, annual Juneteenth celebration. A celebration of freedom at T. Pepin Center, 11 to 1, June the 16th. I'm talking about entertainment, midday. Come to the event, take a long lunch, go back to work if you need to. Those who can, take a half a day. See, that's kind of how we do it. And they got a whole weekend of festivities this year. They have a evening event, Saturday and Sunday events, all in West Tampa. So as I get more information to let you know about it, we'll talk about it again next week. Give you the specifics on it, which I currently don't have, but I know those who interested, know. And then the following week, Reverend Dixon will have his event that he's been doing for 5 years, and we'll have more information about that. So we got a whole bunch of stuff, and this is community good feeling stuff. You see what I'm saying? This is stuff you can kind of stick your heart out, because it's really about the Black experience here in America. And Juneteenth celebrates the last African American getting the word and being emancipated in Galveston, Texas. 2.5 years after everybody knew about it on the East Coast, it finally got to Texas. So they got a couple extra years of that free slavery stuff, that free labor, they extended it.
Apparently nobody had Instagram. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the cussing that went on? Why didn't somebody tell me about this? What?
Yeah, you've been free for 2.5 years.
Please. How long? They've been cussing. You know that we're only having celebration now because there was some angry folks doing a lot of cussing. Yeah. That's where some people probably learn to cuss.
Yeah. And then there's the
dang, you imagine? 2 years.
There was the Rose Garden.
Bro, please.
Well, I got everybody excited and happy. we don't get y'all depressed again. Because Trump said on Thursday afternoon that they wasn't participating in the international climate change event anymore. So, I mean, basically what he said was, you guys got to find some more folks to finance this crazy ass venture. So I mean basically that's what he said, and then everybody got butthurt. It ain't like this is the first time he said it. He has said it when he was campaigning. I guess they say, well, he ain't gonna get elected. It ain't gonna be no problem. We're not gonna ever hear about this again. Because it's a worldwide thing. Everybody on the planet knows it's happening.
Except China, who's the worst of the polluters in the planet, they provided zero to that fund.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And Russia provided zero, and we provided over 15 million they were asking for. How come they're bigger, they're making more mess, but we get to pay?
Well, see, that's part of Trump's policy. See, he said America first, and now all of a sudden our liberal, butthurt Democrats and other folks are saying, oh, he mean America alone. He don't mean America alone. He said what he meant. Mm-hmm. Because again, we got some of these international ventures that without our money, they're gonna go away.
Yep.
So it won't be long before this international climate change symposium is gonna be looking for dollars, because Russia and Germany and China and Japan and all these other major international countries are gonna have to carry their own weight. Because when Trump say we ain't in it no more, and he may not have said it like that, but he said, when we ain't giving you no more money, then see, that's when everybody was butthurt. You know, long, they ain't care about us coming. They want us to send our money. And what happened is Trump said, well, we ain't sending no money either. So deal with that.
Well, this Paris climate change accord is it's an interesting thing. There were 190 countries, I think, that signed on, and a lot of the countries that signed on are smaller nations, second world nations, emerging nations, and a lot of them signed on only because they knew the deal is that they have to have money because they don't have the money, especially if any of this agreement is carried out, because they don't have the energy. They don't have because they won't be able to use the coal they have or the oil they have, which are expressly forbidden in this agreement. They don't have the money to get up to speed with any of the green energy things, so they need an influx of funds to do so. You know, the first thing I thought was when I heard that the president had decided that we would not participate in the Paris Accords was, okay, so what? There's 189 other countries.
Yeah.
Some of them the biggest countries on the planet. Let them do it. Go ahead. Go ahead. If you think that's the right thing to do, France, go ahead. If Angela Merkel, if you think that's the thing to do for Germany, go ahead. Go. Yeah. Okay. So there's two countries that they mentioned in the press that aren't involved other than us. It's Syria. They're in civil war, and Nicaragua. The reason that Nicaragua decided that they weren't going to participate is because the deal wasn't good for them. It wasn't enough money. They weren't getting enough cash. So Nicaragua said, "Nah, we don't want to participate unless y'all come up with some more cash for us."
Buy us in.
Well, yeah. So if anybody thinks this is about global warming, if anybody thinks this is about saving the planet and saving the children and all that crap, you are sadly misinformed and sadly mistaken. Because it's not about any of that. Even if you happen to be a proponent, which I am not, but you probably tell that, of anthropomorphic global warming. I am not a proponent. I don't believe it exists, but that's another argument. Even if you are, you've got to be able to look at the specifics of this agreement and see that this is really about a transference of wealth from wealthy nations to other nations. That's what this is about. And that's what it's always been about. Right. It doesn't have anything to do with saving the spider monkeys in Southeast Asia and making sure that nations are underwater. This doesn't have anything to do with the supposed anthropomorphic global warming. You know what? I did a little math, and I'm sure that Ellie will appreciate this. I did a little math. The evolutionists say that the world is 4.5 billion years old. Okay, so let's go with that. The evolutionists say that. Some Christians say differently, but the evolutionists say, the same people who are science-based say it's 4.5 billion years old. We have lived in an industrial society, and I'm going to be really, really liberal about this number, for about 120 years. It hasn't been that long. I'm going to give you 120 years. Do you know what percentage of that is of the entire Earth's history? It's 0.000026% of the entire world's history. The industrialized world is less than 25% of land mass on the whole planet. So just common sense says, are you telling me for that small amount of time, in that small amount of place on the planet, that we're bringing the thing to its knees?
Yeah.
At some point, the earth will shake us off like a dog with fleas. It's gonna do one of those things where you watch the dog and the dog dries itself off, and then we're gonna disappear.
Yeah.
It's gonna make that shake, and then we will no longer be here. And there have been earthquakes and meteors and volcanoes that have caused worldwide destruction immediately, that have changed the whole course of the planet. And you telling me in 120 years we are bringing it to its knees because you drive an Escalade?
That's right. No, you saved it because you drive the Prius.
Yeah, or you saved it because you drive a crappy little Prius.
See, that's the thing. And a part of this analogy has to do with the fact that there was a point in time in the Earth's history where every volcano that's currently here were all active at the same time. So again, think about that. If they can recover from that, it ain't nothing we can do. Again, this is how you look. It's like an ant looking up, at mountains and saying, I control that mountain because I'm digging a little hole here at the base. You see,
and again, we're trying to create things to make things better, yet the Prius, the batteries in there, the damage that does to our planet is absolutely amazing. Lithium, it's horrible. And do you know anybody ever tried to replace the batteries in that car? It's $5,000 minimum. The average person can go, I guess I need to do something else. $5,000 buy a nice car these days. So understand the idea that we're going to save the planet by getting rid of SUVs and get Priuses and destroy the rest of the planet, trying to get that lithium for them $5,000 batteries. I never was told I was the sharpest tool in the shed, but I go, heck no. I ain't going to do it. I ain't going to do it at all. I'm going to go buy a regular Ford or Chevy, probably a Nissan, and I'm going to make that sucker run forever. As opposed to buying a car with $5,000 battery, nah. That common sense out the door.
All right, now, Trump also bought us this Kofifi. Yeah. 12 o'clock in the morning, he doing the little Twitter thing and tweeted out, despite the constant negative press, Kofifi. Everybody was waiting. I mean, see, that's how you play a fiddle.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody just made the assumption he is so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
He misprinted. His thumb was working overdrive, and nobody but Trump. I mean, and he did come back. He did come back like 4 o'clock in the morning and said some other stuff and text some more stuff and basically said, okay, go find out what Kofifi mean. And of course, 4 days, 5 days, stupid. I mean, it's probably a list of 100 words long of comments and things that folks were saying because, see, Bush was supposed to be stupid. Bush was supposed to be uneducated, no talented, the F student. But Trump is a genius compared to Bush, because the press disliked Bush, but they hate Trump. So it took them all of 5 minutes to get on that and stay on it for 4 or 5 days until later. Now you got people who say, okay, Trump knew what he was doing. It actually has a meaning. He picked up a word while he was on his foreign visits. And what Kofifi actually means is, I will stand up. Now, again, you had to go somewhere to find it. It wasn't regular language in any spoken language. But again, I don't know if Trump, I'm just going to tell you, I don't know if Trump did it intentionally or it fell into his lap after they spent 100,000 words talking about how bad it was and what a joke it was, and every late night program mentioning it at least 40 times within the last hour.
Well, luckily all the really smart people at CNN, because they're so smart, everybody knows, they thought they would try and tear into the president's well by him misspelling that, they said. And they go ahead and misspell the word chief political analyst on their own show when they're trying to rag on somebody else not getting their spelling right. Boy, that's pretty smart.
It is, and it happens. And part of this whole process is if I know, and see, and that's what we have to tell our youth these days. If I know what gets into your head, if I know what irks you, I can control you. I think Trump was playing a game with them, and it was 12 o'clock at night, and he had picked up this new word while he was traveling. Let me throw this out there. I know they're going to jump on this thing like a piece of steak in a pit full of pit bulls, and they did, and he did exactly what they suspected, and again, at the end of the day. So they have bought into it to the degree now that nothing he can say could make them think that that wasn't a mistake. You see what I'm saying? See, that's the nature of it. You don't bid into it. You don't jump. You don't invest so much time and energy into Trump being stupid and foolish and made an error, a blunder, and he can't admit it to himself. And so when you find out that he wasn't lying, he still got to be lying. See, I know that and I understand that. Go ahead, Willie.
At the risk of upsetting the anonymous callers, I'm going to make this point. If you take your phone out and you look at the QWERTY keyboard and you look at the spelling of this, whatever this is,
Kofifi.
yeah, whatever, Covfefe, and if you look at the context, which is something that we don't care about anymore, the context of anything. If you look at the context of the tweet, you can almost figure out what happened. You don't have to be Barnaby Jones. I know I'm bringing up all the old rep. Mike Douglas.
Oh my goodness.
Cannon. Anyway, you don't have to be Cannon or Barnaby Jones to figure this out. You can say, oh, because if you tweet or if you text a lot, now Eddie doesn't text or tweet a lot.
No, it don't.
You
No,
don't
at all.
respond either.
No. So I do. So you can almost see what could happen if you look at the F.
It could.
The first F, it's really next to the E. It's next to the E, and so is the R, the next F. So the word is coverage, negative coverage that was misspelled. And a misspelled word doesn't mean that anybody's stupid. It doesn't mean that anybody's dumb. Now I know that right now in current social media, that if they can't beat your point, they'll try to slam your grammar. That's the deal. If they can't beat your point, they'll try to slam your grammar. And that's sort of because that's sort of how the 15-year-olds on Twitter and Snapchat and Instagram and Tumblr behave. How do I know? Because I'm on all those platforms. That's how I know. And no, I'm not 15. I'm just hip like 15. But I think it's important that we get that perspective, and we know what all that's about. So that's what the 15-year-olds do. If they can't beat your point, they'll slam your grammar.
All right, we got a caller.
Or your spelling. We have a caller on the Print Fast Newsmaker line. Go ahead, caller.
Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon, gentlemen. Another entertaining show that y'all are putting
Thank
on.
you.
Just to continue to try to understand, because the last week y'all had referenced that y'all are not Trump or the administration apologists.
No, we're not.
But it seems like every single Saturday y'all have to come up with ways to particularly explain what the president is trying to communicate or articulate. You know, you talked about last week about the Saudi Arabia deal as he being a great businessman and he knows how to handle business. But then the thing is that we just had the jobs report come out, and there was only 138,000 jobs that were created.
Only.
In other words, he took
Compared
credit
to
for 255,000
200,000 that's been.
jobs being created. But then, now, 138,000? If he's a great job creator, because that's what he said, I'm going to bring back jobs. Hey, what is he doing? He's not showing that he's a great job creator as he announced himself to be in this bombastic way. So I'm just wondering why you and your rest of your crew continue to make excuses, continue to contort yourself to try to explain what is pretty evident, that this person is not effective. This person has shown that he's not following through with what he promised.
I don't know. I happen to disagree with you on not following through with what he promised. He promised in his campaign that he would not, that he would pull out of the Paris Accord. Just did that. He nominated that he would replace the Supreme Court justice with a conservative justice, and did just that. And that doesn't make me an apologist. It just makes me look back up and go, oh, that's what happened. He said this and that happened. Now, the problem with jobs, let me tell you, and I'm not making an excuse for him, our problem with presidents and jobs is that we are under some weird impression, and it doesn't matter if it's Democrat or Republican, that presidents and administrations create jobs. They do not. That's the first mistake. Just like they don't have anything to do with the price of gas going up and down. They don't have, and you know what? And they don't have anything to do with creating jobs. George Bush didn't. Barack Obama didn't. Bill Clinton didn't. And neither does. And let me help you, because I said I'm not an apologist. I don't know, this might get our anonymous callers upset. I'm going to say this. Neither will Donald Trump. The best they can hope to do is to create an environment, an economic environment for private industry to create jobs. That's how that works. And let's just be real with that, because unless we're real with how things actually work, then we're all just going to believe whatever comes out of media's mouth, and that's the deal. And what you say is making excuses for Donald Trump is sometimes if you think that there's another way to analyze or to comment on the same thing, then if I happen to have a different perspective and I bring that perspective, that doesn't mean I'm making excuses for anybody. I just see it differently. That's all. Right. And because I didn't go along with whatever CNN said I should go along with. I didn't go along with whatever BET or TV1 said I should go along with. I didn't go along with Ebony Magazine or Essence Magazine or Time. I didn't go along with them. I decided to look at the same thing and see it differently. That doesn't mean I'm making apologies for anybody or I'm making excuses for anybody. I just happen to see it differently.
Right, and part of what we do here, I thought I was kind of explaining that, I don't feel I have to, but I'm going to tell you something that's historical. Every president had a president that came before them. And somehow, the president who is current president tends to do stuff in a vacuum. See, because everybody just forget that you just had a president, and before that, there was another president, before that, all the way back to president number one, George Washington. So all this stuff don't happen in a vacuum. You can take any one number out of 400 billion numbers that show up on somebody's, computer every day and pick that number and say, this is the number today I'm going to throw out there and see if I can get something bounced off the wall. So people just throwing stuff on the wall, bouncing it back, and when they, say, well, now I got you, now I got you, now I got you. Take that time and energy and do something more constructive with it. Because again, I'm going to tell you right now, not much can be said that's going to change the way I see the world, because it took me 64 years to get here. I'm just saying, it took you 30, 20, 40, 10, however many years to get where you at. This is a radio show. I want you to call and tell me how you think and your opinion, and a couple of 100,000 other folks is going to hear it. But at the end of the day, I'm not here to change your opinion about nothing. I'm giving you another view, another way to look at it, another way to think about it. And that is it. If you call it being an apologist because I tend to think and promote things from a conservative point of view, being a black Republican and being proud of, that in its own is an issue, because I have a lot of folks call me personally on my cell phone number after the show and talk about stuff that they won't call in because they think you folks will recognize their voice calling in on this show. Somehow, that's not politically correct for you to call this show. I'm telling you, we want to make stuff happen. We got a caller. We're going to do them real quickly, and then we got to go because we only got 2 minutes left. Caller, come in.
That's the same caller.
Oh, the same caller. Okay,
yeah.
All right. So again, with that being said, we only got 2 minutes left in the show. Gabriel, Willie, give your final thoughts.
My final thought for the day is it's okay to disagree. It's okay to think differently. It's okay to take another side of an issue. That's perfectly okay as long as we are respectful to one another in doing it, and as long as we are open-minded in our conversation. Just because you don't agree with me on one thing doesn't mean that we can't partner somewhere else.
All right, Willie. Let me say, Gabriel.
That's okay. We look alike.
I know.
No, we don't.
No, it's a hair. Folks, just kind of trying to keep it all in perspective. Yes, we're going to have different opinions. Yes, we're going to have different views. Yes, we are going to not always agree with CNN, with the regular cable channels, because we know that a majority of them are in the tank for certain politicians. It's always been that way. It'll always be that way. They're going to go where the money is, just like the rest of them. Somebody's got to pay somebody for somebody to keep the lights on. And obviously the politicians, they're making the money. These media people making their money. We know where the money's coming from. We're down to it is what it is. When you aren't sure where they're getting that opinion from, follow the money.
All right. On your way out the door, remember, on this day, June the 3rd, in 1808, Jefferson Davis, President of the Confederate States of America, was born. Thank you. Love you. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Really, man? Are you serious?
There you go.
Is that how you gonna leave it? I'll let you go to your car first. I want you to go to your car first. I'm gonna wait.
Thank you, guys. We made it to another show. We almost had the lock bid on the dough version